like I said, we got Alebeard on the show. Alebeard from Blizzpro. So really, I got a little bit of a story about how this interview came to be. I was just in QM, saw someone broadcasting. Anyone looking for games? I was like, sure. Who's this Alebeard guy? It was like, it sounds kind of familiar. I had it kind of ticking in the back of my head. We played, I think, maybe 4 or 5 games in the middle of the night. At least it was for me. I guess Alebeard's on the closer to the West Coast, so he's in a different time zone. But at the end, I was like, just so you know, like do this podcast. I try not usually to plug when I'm in the middle of games with someone. But I was like, yeah, I've played a few of them. He's like, oh, really? I like create content for a Blizzard website. I was like, dude, this is like meant to be. You should come on the show. I was like, Alebeard, that sounds familiar. I think I've read your stuff pretty frequently. And turns out I actually go to Blizzpro and read your articles prior to the show to make sure we're not missing anything. Because oftentimes I'll be like, oh, did I miss some like Blizzard news or something? And I'll catch Alebeard stuff and be like, oh yeah, there was this forum post or whatever that I got to make sure I include. So thanks, Alebeard, for making my life a little bit easier over on Blizzpro. So anyways, we were talking before, we're like, Alebeard, where does that name come from? So do you have any story about how your name came to be?
I do. It's actually back from when I made my first World of Warcraft character. I was going to make a dwarf, and I was trying to think of something that sounded dwarven, and they have beards, and I figured they like ale, so somehow I became Alebeard. But now that we have this video streaming community and things like that, it's become a big disappointment to people because they expect me to have this big, crazy, gnarly beard, and I don't.
I guess they're expecting a Dunk Train-esque style beard. Eh?
Exactly, right. Yeah, because beards are cool now.
And was it a dwarf warrior by chance?
No, I hate to say this. It was a dwarven hunter, which may get some backlash.
Oh, no.
But at least it wasn't a night elf hunter.
That's true. I'll give you that. Points for that.
As soon as you said World of Warcraft character, I was like, Alebeard. I was like, it's got to be a dwarf. Like, it's definitely a dwarfish sounding name, right? So you work for you create content for Blizzpro. You want to tell us a little bit about your site and what you do for Blizzpro?
Sure. So I do most of the Heroes coverage for Blizzpro. Blizzpro is a site that covers all the different Blizzard games. So we have people doing Hearthstone, Overwatch, World of Warcraft. Again, every Blizzard game, there's somebody covering it or a team of people covering it. So I do most of the Heroes stuff, a lot of news posts, some strategy stuff. Most of what I write is geared towards trying to help the average fan, strategy for the average player. And then we do some builds and things like that.
I gotta say, I'm very impressed how well you can kind of collate everything together too. Because I try and keep tabs on Reddit, I try and keep tabs on the forums, but it's so easy to miss stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
There was an embarrassing moment a couple weeks ago that me and Mister were talking about with Chew 8, where I emailed him congratulating him on his HGC thing, and then Mystic's like, "Ooh, you heard about what happened? He got disqualified from HGC." And I was like, "Oh, how did I not catch that?" And it's just it's hard sometimes to catch it all because Reddit, there's so much stuff that goes up there. There's so much stuff in the forums. It's kind of hard to get through it all. So it's nice to have sites that kind of aggregate it all for you, right? So you can quickly breeze through, see what's happening, see all the recent news and everything too.
Yeah, for sure.
So how did you get in Heroes of the Storm? You played Warcraft, sounds like. Shouldn't you be doing some Warcraft stuff, or what made you go on to Heroes of the Storm?
Well, I think it was just a kind of right time, right place situation. So I've been playing Blizzard games since like Orcs and Humans, the original Diablo, way back when. And I played a ton of Warcraft, like so many people, played a lot of World of Warcraft. But as I got older, like most of us, I had less time to devote to all the work that it takes to play World of Warcraft at a semi-high level. And then I'd never really played a MOBA before, but when Heroes of the Storm came out, it piqued my interest because it was a Blizzard game with Blizzard heroes. And then I was fortunate enough to get into the alpha shortly after it launched. Within maybe a month or 6 weeks, I got in the alpha, and the game really clicked for me. It was a perfect game as far as the time that I had, where if I could play an hour or two a day, that was plenty of time. And I enjoy playing a variety of different characters, which is tough to do in World of Warcraft when you don't have time to level your alts, gear your alts. But the great thing about Heroes, if you want to play a mage tonight, you log in, you play Jaina. You want to be a warrior tomorrow, you're good to go. You play Muradin. You don't have to gear, you don't have to level, you don't have to do all that stuff. So for me, that was a lot of fun. But as I played more Heroes, I just started to have these thoughts in my head, some ideas, some things that I was seeing that I thought it might help people to talk about or read about. So I was following the Blizzpro people. They have a podcast that they do called the Heroes Power Hour. So I was a fan of that show. I was starting to play with them every now and then, and I just reached out to Eldorian, the creator of the site, and just asked him if he happened to need any more Heroes writers. And I submitted a piece for him, and he let me start writing. So my first article was about the original Heroes of the Dorm.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he decided to take you on too. I've read a lot of your stuff and it's very high quality.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've got a loaded question for you. What's your favorite Blizzard game of all time?
Oh, shoot. I think I have to say Heroes. Like, there are so many ones that I've enjoyed, again, at different parts of my life. I've got so much nostalgia attached to World of Warcraft because I played so much of that in my youth to young adulthood. But I don't know, Heroes really has a special part just because the community is so great around it and all of that stuff.
And it is a great game. I've got a soft spot in my heart for Warcraft 2 as well. That was one of my favorite Blizzard games. And I spent a lot of hours playing Warcraft 2 on like LAN parties with my buddies back in like grade and high school too. So yeah, those are some good times. How about you, Mystic? What was your favorite? Let's take Heroes of the Storm out of it. What's your favorite Blizzard game of all time? I feel like I should have addended that question because obviously we all do content for Heroes of the Storm. It's probably our favorite game. But so Mystic, what's your favorite Blizzard game other than Heroes of the Storm?
Other than Heroes of the Storm, I happen to really like StarCraft and have this really cool StarCraft pylon that I just happen to have with me.
It's almost like I set you up for that, huh?
Yeah.
And
how about you, Liqiud?
So, much like Alebeard, I used to play World of Warcraft nonstop. We were in my wife and I, and we ran a higher end raiding guild on Horde Area 52 for a long time. And I just found as I got older and job got more busy and kids, I didn't have time and shifted to Heroes of the Storm. But since I can't answer that, I will stick with World of Warcraft.
Yeah, we got a nice diverse selection of games there too. Yeah, and like you, Alebeard, I played the original Diablo as well back in the day too. I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah, if I had to make a non-cop-out, non-heroes answer, I would say Diablo 2. That was, I think, the first Blizzard game that I played super hardcore, that I just played hours and hours and hours of.
Look at that. We got a great representation of all the Blizzard properties. No one said Lost Vikings, and no one said Rock and Roll Racing and Overwatch, I guess. But
I will be honest, I have played a lot of hours of Lost Vikings when I was younger, with any of the Diablo games. And I'm not too ashamed to admit that.
It's all right. Different games for different people, right? I'd never realized Lost Vikings was a Blizzard property until maybe like 4 or 5 years ago too. It just was one of those things that I played it on Super Nintendo or whatever system it came out on, but other than that, I didn't make the connection that it was a part of like the Blizzard universe at the time. But